Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Please leave a like and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. That's probably the biggest way you can help this channel, and it also helps my videos get out to other people. So, with all that out of the way, let's see what we got today. And we are live.
The food pyramid has been the harshest social experiment that we have. When the food pyramid came into play, obesity skyrocketed. And we haven't even updated these nutritional guidelines since the 60s.
Yeah, there's no one fit all diet, right?
I agree. And I have to say that there are strong scientific principles that we should follow. For example, dietary protein as a primary component of a nutritional plan is key, and the evidence supports that. If protein intake is insufficient, your body will change, and it can become sarcopenic. We've all seen aging parents, aging grandparents. Those changes are preventable. The ideal amount of protein is double the RDA.
So around 0.7?
Exactly, 0.7 to 1 gram per pound, ideal body weight.
Wow. That's such a simple fix to just increase your protein every few years, but people don't even know that.
Right.
Yeah. I've never recovered from finding out that the food pyramid was a scam.
Yeah.
That was just the degree to which that's a scam. Is there a worse medical crime in history than that?
No, I mean, telling Americans to load up on 7 to 11 servings of grains every single day.
And to find out that that was a marketing ploy by the Department of Agriculture, and that they went against the advice even of their own consultants who warned them that they would produce an epidemic of obesity and diabetes, which is, well, and not to say nothing of depression and dementia, which is exactly what we have now.
Exactly.
It's like, I don't know what you even do when you find out that that's true.
Yeah, and the unwarranted demonization of natural fat-containing foods, nutrient-dense foods like animal source foods, which continue to be demonized. And with that demonization of these like natural whole foods, I mean, we live in a time where 60% of the calories that your average American consumes comes from what are called ultra-processed foods.
Right.
So the
center of the supermarket.
Exactly, the antithesis to whole foods, right?
Yeah.
So the idea that we're still demonizing whole foods to me is insane.
Yeah.
100%. Get ready, guys.
True conspiracy theory is that our food pyramid is a lie. Our government literally conspired with people in the food industry to make it something that it wasn't supposed to be. The very first food pyramid was actually made in Sweden in around 1972, and they did this because the cost of food was getting really high. So they wanted some sort of guide where people could buy cheap food on the bottom and then add in extras at the top. When they were kicking around ideas for the food pyramid back then, they actually kicked around this idea of a circular, image with different servings cut out, but they ended up not going with that because they thought it would remind people of cake and make them eat cake. This is the food pyramid that we know of in the US, and it came out in 1992, but it was actually sent to the printer in 1991, and it was created by a lot of nutritionists and scientists. But when people from the poultry, chicken, meat, dairy industry heard that this version, not this one, a different version of the food pyramid was coming out, they got upset and they stepped in and they said, we think that you're portraying our industries poorly. We're going to rework the food pyramid. So after a year of reworking and $900,000 in taxpayer money, this is what they came up with, which is, kind of ridiculous. The original food pyramid that the nutritionists had put together had things like crackers and baked goods at the very top of the pyramid. Eat sparingly. In the reworking of this, in order to please the wheat industry, they had it at the absolute bottom of the pyramid. So they tried to make us believe that cereal, pasta, that should be the thing we eat the most of. The dairy industry had a massive hold on this project because the fact that they were able to make dairy its own thing that you need every day, despite the fact that so many cultures don't eat dairy, so many people are lactose intolerant, but they really put it on the pyramid and said, dairy is so important, you need to get servings of it every day. There's a lot of other interesting stuff around this. We broke it down in this week's podcast episode where we talk all about the food pyramid scheme, how it came to be, and other nutritional theories that go around.
This is one conspiracy we all better dive into.
Strange. Why can we suddenly not tolerate gluten as a society? I went to the Columbia University. It was a conference symposium on celiac and gluten sensitivity with a bunch of researchers and physicians. And they're talking about, we don't know what it is that's causing this gluten sensitivity rise. I went up to the microphone and I said, do they spray Roundup on the grain? Like the chemical, the herbicide Roundup? Doctors and researchers turned around and looked at me. They're like, they don't spray Roundup. That would kill it. And I was like, okay. And I went and I sat down. A scientist from General Mills was there to promote their gluten-free Cheerios. So he found me and he said, yeah, they're spraying Roundup on a lot of the grains. We know there's a problem. It's going to take 2 decades to reverse. Okay, like 2 decades. I said, well, everyone's going to be gluten sensitive or intolerant and maybe dead because people are getting sick from this. And who did I call up? So I'm reading through PubMed, like, okay, what research is there? And I came across Stephanie Seneff's research and Anthony Samsel, her partner. And I called her up and she's like, come visit me if you're in Boston. I was in Boston. I went and sat down with her and she was like, let me tell you, and like laid it all out. And it really sent me on a huge path of glyphosate, which I'm still working on today.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth there. Monsanto and that Roundup Ready ruined a lot of stuff. Here in Alberta, we had a real big problem with Monsanto.
Quick thought. You know, when you eat meat and you feel them little crunchy white balls, sometimes you spit them out, you find them in your food, no matter what you eating, it's fried, it's dead. You always find these little white balls in your meat. Did you know them little white gristles, balls you think is gristle, is really parasites, and they called cysts. See, this is how the parasites transport themselves from dead, rotten flesh to an environment that's acidic so they can breathe. That's why no matter if you cook the meat or put it in the freezer, the parasites will live because they live in cyst forms until they get into your stomach, and then they release and they hatch. So remember when you're eating that meat, and them hot dogs and them burgers and them turkey burgers and all that stuff, you hear that little white, little crunchy little thing you think is a gristle? It's not gristle. Nope, those are parasites called cysts. And you eating a bunch of cysts every time you eat fried food. So that should be something you think about next time you do that.
Pain or aching in your muscles or joints can be intestinal parasite symptoms. That's because parasites release or excrete toxins into the bloodstream that cause inflammation. Parasites also can be responsible for sleeping irregularities, skin irritation, mood changes, and for all you lifters, muscle pain especially. These toxins cause a hefty amount of inflammation over time, and this inflammation is causing your dis-ease. And parasites also affect personality changes. It's not a virus, it's not really bacteria, it's a parasite. This is a parasitic society. We heal the parasite issue, we heal the spine. We fix the parasite issue, we fix the stomach. We fix the parasite issue, we fix the blindness. We fix the parasite issue, we fix the schizophrenia. We fix the parasite issue, we fix the psychosis. We fix the parasite issue, we fix the liver issue. We fix the parasite issue, we fix the kidney disease. We fix the parasite issue, we fix the heart disease. This is my story, this is my song. That's all I can say all day long. Free health coaching, it's free. No reason to charge. Freely it's given, freely we give back, fam. I see people charging sometimes $500 for this information. How? Anyways, link in bio. Little by little, inch by inch. By the yard it's hard, by the inch it's a pinch. But it also goes back to the promise in Exodus. If you listen to and heed my statutes and commandments, I will place no disease upon you the way that I did the Egyptians. So he's given us the manual for healing. I can help show you the manual for healing too. Metals. They hate wormwood. So we hit him with wormwood. Restore your identity. $10 off equals Jacob.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for parasites, and I do believe a lot of us are probably loaded with them. Something you want to look into.
Autophagy fasting, what's that?
So autophagy fasting is about 17 hours in without food, your cells will turn within and they'll start to heal themselves. And that was what Dr. Osumi's big discovery is that the cells clean themselves up. So what's interesting on this one, and this is something I really want to get out to the world, is that when you stimulate autophagy, what you're doing is you're turning on the intelligence inside the cell, and that intelligence is looking around and it's going, hey, there's a virus, there's a bacteria, get them out. So let's push these infections out of the cell. That mitochondria, it's not working well, we need to repair it. That endoplasmic reticulum inside here, it's lagging, we need to fix it. So it literally goes in and fixes everything inside the cell just at 17 hours. But one of the greatest studies I've seen in fasting was, and it showed that if a virus comes into a cell that's in a state of autophagy, it can't replicate. Viruses have to live off of your energy system. So when viruses go into a cell that's laden with glucose, they have a party in there. They love that. They munch on that, and then they go out and they start replicating. If you were in a fasted state when a virus comes in, it can't replicate. There's nothing inside that cell for that virus to take over, and it dies.
Yeah, I'm a huge advocate for fasting, intermittent fasting, 100%.
Breaking news. Scientists discover the world's greatest anti-inflammatory, antioxidant.
If you don't believe me, you should try it. It's amazing.
When you deplete this nutrient and you don't supplement for it, by the way, vitamin D3 is so easy to supplement for. Everybody should be taking vitamin D3 unless you're getting adequate sunlight. 5,000 IUs of D3 with 80 micrograms of K2. And, you deplete this nutrient. Eventually, you will develop rheumatoid arthritis-like symptoms. Now, you don't have rheumatoid arthritis, but you have the same identical symptoms when you're depleted in vitamin D3. You start waking up sore and achy like you had a workout the night before when you haven't. Soles of your feet and your ankles are tender when you get out of bed in the morning to walk to the bathroom and take your first pee. Your knees and hips and ankles start to stiffen up, and it goes to cross the shoulders, and eventually it's hard to make a really tight fist. Well, if you go to the wrong physician, family medicine practitioner that's seeing a lot of high volume of patients, and you start to give them that description, they go, you know what? You got rheumatoid arthritis. I'm going to hit you with something called corticosteroids. I'm going to put you on some prednisone first, and then we're going to transition you to a corticosteroid, like methotrexate or one of these, and you're going to be fine. It's going to push this off into the future. Well, we knew that if you started corticosteroids, that at first they had an anti-inflammatory effect, but you had roughly 6 years and 1 day until you're having a joint replacement. Because first they're anti-inflammatory, but then they eat the joint like a termite.
Biggest issue in the world, in my opinion, is the devil's bargain, where food is making us sick, we're getting addicted, and then the medical system is profiting from the fact that everyone's getting sick. And they want to keep food cheap, and they want to keep it addictive. 8 of the 10 killers of Americans are directly tied to food. 30% of children have prediabetes. 50% of adults have fatty liver disease, and 20% of teens have fatty liver disease. You only saw this condition in elderly alcoholics just a generation ago. These are all going up, and they are all foodborne illnesses. We are being brought to our knees by metabolic dysfunction tied to food.
Yeah.
You basically are saying the body will heal itself if it's given the right conditions.
Yes, this is the fundamental philosophy that naturopathic medicine, quite frankly, homeopathic medicine, herbalism, Ayurveda, chiropractic, every holistic type of medicine argues. The human body is endowed with a spiritual force, a spiritual intelligence, a divine intelligence, which is directing the show. There are millions of metabolic processes happening right now in our bodies completely beyond our conscious control. Somebody's running that show. It's the divine intelligence in the human body that's running that show. The body knows how to fix itself. The body wants to fix itself, but it needs raw materials to do it. This is our fundamental point. The body needs 90 essential nutrients, 60 minerals, like calcium and sulfur and zinc and magnesium, 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, 12 amino acids, and 2 essential fatty acids. A grand total of 90. This has to go down the hatch every day in order for the body to have the stuff it needs to function the way that nature and God intended.
There's no way you can find 90 almost anywhere around, though.
Well, but this is interesting, right? If the 90 essential nutrients are not present in the food, not all of them. And modern agricultural methods, through the overt use of pesticides, destroys not only the bugs that eat the plants, but it also destroys the bacteria that's in the soil that helps the plant suck up the nutrients into the plant body. So, if this is how much nutrition your body needs in order to just work the way that God intended it to, this is how much was in food maybe when you were a kid, now this much is in food. Now you walk through life, experience the stress of life, emotional stress, financial stress, political stress, environmental stress, viruses and bacteria and lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Your body burns through the rest of its reserves. Now you're running on fumes and things start to break. So you run out of omega-3 essential fatty acids, you get asthma. You run out of calcium, you get heartburn, you get muscle tics or twitches or bad menstrual cramps, chronic low back pain, arthritic conditions, high blood pressure. There are over 370 illnesses directly related to a deficiency in calcium. Right?
Whoa.
Over 370. So you run out of the essential nutrients your body needs, then something breaks, so you go to the only medicine that your insurance pays for, which is allopathic MD-directed medicine. The doctors don't know anything about medical nutrition. They don't believe that the body can cure itself, so they give you a drug that manages the problem. The drug, in its working in the human body, also burns through nutrients. So after 6 months or a year, the drug stops working, or they need to increase its potency, or they need to give you a second or a third drug. And then you get worse, and then you need another drug, and then it gets worse, and then you need surgery, and then you get a secondary infection from the surgery, and then you need another drug for that, and then you die. And then your relatives are so grief-stricken that they organize a 5K run on your behalf to come up with a cure for stomach cancer. And who do they give the money to? The people that failed you in the first place.
And take from that what you will.
My name is Bob Carter.
Oh, you're going to stick to that, huh? Well, you're a fine-looking lad, Sonny.
Thank you.
I'd say you were around 28, huh? Am I close?
No.
Are you 60?
No.
70?
No.
You're not 80, are you?
You got to go further than that.
I would if you weren't here.
You would.
How about 90?
You got to go again.
Don't tell me you're 100 years old.
You got to go again.
Well, I'll take one more guess. 650.
I'm 102.
102. How long were you married, Pop?
I was married 72 years.
You're a real Iron Man. Do you have any children?
I had 7 girls and 9 boys. That's right.
How old are your oldest children?
82.
Are they still in school?
No, they're sending their grandchildren to school.
Oh, how young are the youngest?
He's 36.
How about grandchildren? How many do you have?
I had 69.
And do you have
39 great-grandchildren and 19 great-great-grandchildren. I still say I'm a man.
And you know he knows all their names, too. For 102, that guy seemed pretty spry. You know, so I think the biggest thing we can take away from all the clips today is that the world we live in is poisoned. Almost everywhere you turn around, we're being poisoned in some way, shape, or form. Now, you've heard me say this a lot, that I've cured my own chronic inflammation with an all-meat diet. That, paired with grounding, also paired with intermittent fasting, and I've pretty much taken my life back. I was rendered fat, laying on the couch playing video games. I couldn't get up. You know, it wasn't until I decided to take charge of my life and try these things that I'd heard about that I can honestly say, if you are on the fence, give it a try. You never know. For me, I can't go back to eating processed food. I'll never do it. If I didn't cook it myself, I'm not eating it. So But I am kind of running out of time here, so I'm going to have to cut it short today, guys. Thank you a lot for hanging out with me, and I hope you enjoyed this one today. I will see you in the next one. 80 Canadian, signing off.